It's a little modern. They did that purposely. This room is here to give you a preview of what you're going to experience through the rest of the building. That's why all the photos on the wall are of the original Carthay Circle Theater. You take a look at this photo right here. This is an aerial view of the property. It was started in 1922 by J. Harrison McCarthy, a wealthy land developer here in California. Unfortunately, most of his land developments failed after a couple years, so Carthay was his last big attempt to make something grand. In 1924, he partnered with Fox to build the Carthay Circle Theater because they needed more pull to the area to sell homes. Now, this is San Vicente, this is Wilshire, and this is McCarthy Boulevard, McCarthy Vista now. Okay? This is the only portion that he uses his real name on. Carthay is a play on his last name. He thought it sounded fancy. And the circle portion comes from the inside of the theater. That portion was an exact circle. So that's some photos of it right over there on the wall. It's at 1,500 people. It was estimated to be around $2 million when it opened its doors in 1926. Okay. Now the outside was Spanish Revival theme, but on the inside was obviously Art Deco, but with the overlining theme of pioneers coming westward. Okay. This right here, this is the pioneer statue. It's actually a fountain. It was dedicated at the same time that they broke ground to build the theater. It's dedicated to his great-great-grandfather, who was a pioneer who came westward during the 1860s and was actually one of the men who kept California in the Union during the Civil War. So his whole family was heavily influenced by this. Right here, this is the drop curtain at the original theater. It's got a painting on the front of it called Crossing Donner Lake. It's the Donner Party coming westward. Now take a good look at it, because when we go in the next room, there's a big painting of it, okay? Now, Carthay actually rivaled Grauman's Chinese Theater back in the day as the premier spot here in Los Angeles. But unfortunately, with the decline of Hollywood during the 50s, it took a massive toll on the theater itself. So they tried to renovate the place and make it kind of modern, but people really didn't like that much either. So unfortunately, the theater goes bankrupt and then they tear it down in '69. Okay? On the property now, it's still called Carthay Circle up there. There's some big office buildings. This is actually an elementary school now. And the Pioneer statue, it's actually on the park, which is right here. It's still up there, so you can go check that out. Okay? Now we're going to head into our lounge.
Stand up. I want you up front so you can kind of see what he's doing.
Alright folks, so that's why there's doors right there. It's basically like you're transitioning back. Okay, so in this room, the theming is the premieres at the Carthay Circle Theater. So if you take a look behind our host stand, you'll see a photo of Walt Disney, his wife Lillian, and Leopold Stokowski from 1941's West Coast premiere of Fantasia. As well as on the side walls over here are from the night of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now on that night, they estimated about 3,000 people to show up. Unfortunately, 30,000 showed up. Wow. Including some of the big stars of the day. Judy Garland, Shirley Temple, Clark Gable and his fiancée. Now Clark Gable and his fiancée were actually sitting in the same row as Walt Disney inside the theater. Now we all know the portion of the movie where Snow White's in the glass coffin and the dwarfs are sitting around her. Well, Walt looked over at Gable at this point and noticed that he had a tear coming down his cheek. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was a monumental film. Up until this point, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the cartoons were really taken seriously. There was something to entertain the children before the actual movie began. So when Snow White came out, it was groundbreaking. When we come over here in the corner, we're going to see another photo of Walt, Lillian, and Stokowski at the Fantasia premiere. This one right here is a promotional photo from the opening of the theater in '26. Right here is from the night of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This one all the way over here is a dedication to the Pioneer statue in '24. That big guy in the corner, that's actually Harrison McCarthy himself. But this one right here is Walt Disney walking out of the Carthay Circle Theater. He was there for the Silly Symphony's premiere of Ferdinand the Bull in 1938, which later he'll win an Oscar for. But that's not what makes this photo special. It's been used numerous times by the company. But with the opening of the Carthay Circle Restaurant, we had the first two release photos by the company of Walt still holding a cigarette. Up until this point, those photos would never be released, or those cigarettes would be photoshopped out of respect to Walt, because he was not fond of people knowing that he was a smoker. Okay? So from the carpet to the wallpaper to the roof paper, these are all 1920s and 30s designs. These were some of the designs you actually would have seen back in the day. Okay, they actually tried to replicate the carpet as much as possible to the original one at the theater. If we come over here, these lanterns taken from our ceiling right here are exact replicas of the lanterns from the theater. They're actually made by one of the same companies who made it. Now down here is our lounge and bar. We specialize in old school cocktails from the 20s and 30s as well as appetizers and small plates. So you don't want to go upstairs and have a big meal, check out the lounge, okay? Now if we come over here, you'll see that big painting I was telling you about.
I like this painting, you guys.
Alright, so this is it. This is crossing Donner Lake. It's a Donner Party coming westward. Now most people ask me, alright, so why do you see the Donner Party right before we go upstairs to eat? That's a good question. Yes, the theming of the original theater was pioneers coming westward, but it was more about the struggle that they had to endure to come westward and start a new life. These are the most famous people of them all. Alright folks, now if anyone needs to, please take the elevator upstairs, otherwise just follow me. Now if you notice, we have Disney music playing. We have about 28 different jazzed up Disney songs here. Now down here we have the full jazz band playing, but when we go upstairs you'll notice that it's just the piano playing, but the same song at the same time. I was trying to catch it.
Scott, you see the Mickey?
The elevator, I think, is coming up.
Oh, okay. Alright. 1 second, guys. You know, I keep seeing how many people I can cram in this hall. I got 45. So that was Alright, so our second little secret is actually right here in our salons. They're in both bathrooms. Now, if you take a look at this light, besides it being a very beautiful Art Deco light, it's also the same one you'll see hanging in the library at the Hollywood Tower Hotel just down the street. Now, what's fun is that Disney usually doesn't take things like this and put them in other areas, but I guess because we have the same time period, it works. Of course, theirs has a lot more cobwebs. This photo right here is Walt Disney at the 1939 Oscars. He's receiving a special Oscar for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now this is the first time and the only time the Oscars will ever change the Oscar for anyone. They gave him one big one with 7 little ones, obviously for the dwarfs. It was presented by Shirley Temple. Now besides Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs being the first feature-length animated motion picture, it also grossed over $8.5 million in 1937. Oh my gosh. Your ticket was 25 cents. It also held the ranking of the highest grossing movie up until 1939's Gone with the Wind, which also held its West Coast premiere at the Carthay Circle Restaurant. Alright, let's head to the main diner.
It's cool, it's the one and only time Oscar changed.
That's all it costs for a movie. It's $17. Yeah.
I like that picture. That's so cute.
so happy, whatever.
Alright, folks, if you guys actually, a couple of you want to stand by that circular table right there. Now, this room, the theming is like you're walking into the theater itself. So if you take a look at our kitchen window, it's shaped like a movie screen. Alright? And all the seating in this room is very wide open. We did that purposely. A lot of restaurants in Hollywood would actually have wide open sections where they would sit their stars, so people that would see that they were dining in their restaurants. We did the same here. Now take a look in these 4 circular tables right here and the one in the corner right there. Look in the wood grain. You're going to notice something a little odd. Yeah. If you look, you're going to see that there's a crown, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, and the back of her cape. This is the evil queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, so she's all over the table. And if you look above you, this is a mural of the enchanted forest from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now our first special dining experience is if you look out that window right there, you're going to see our north terrace. From that point, you can see all the way down Buena Vista Street, the top of the train station, the top of the castle, at Disneyland. Now on weekends, usually at 9:30, they shoot off fireworks over at Disneyland. Well, we pipe in the music onto our terrace. Now, if you will, follow me. We're going to head to the premiere room. Alright, just keep scooting in. Okay. Make some friends. Yep. Alright folks, welcome to the premiere room. Now there's 3 great things about this room. Number 1, it has doors, so it's your own private party. Number 2, is if you look underneath the table, you're going to notice that it's sitting on a limestone replica of the Snow White wishing well from the movie. You see it? Number 3, it's on the wall over here. At the top is the first published photo of Walt and Mickey, and at the bottom is the last published photo of Walt and Mickey. Actually, Walt will pass in 2 days. Yeah. Now, on this wall over here, this is a picture of Walt Disney when he came to California in 1923. Now, if you look at that little building behind him, that's actually a garage. That's his uncle's garage. That's where Walt and his older brother Roy founded the Disney Bros studio out of 90 years ago this year. Now what's fun is about 6 blocks that way, off of Euclid, is the Stanley Ranch, the Garden Grove Historical Society. They actually purchased that little garage right before they tore the main house down in Los Angeles. So you can go over there and see the spot where they started it all. Now this room sits 10 to 12 comfortably. It's the only room inside the restaurant that you can reserve. It takes about $700 to do so. Now if you have 10 to 12 people, that's not a hard number to hit. Also, we are standing inside the tower right now. The tower is the only portion of our building that's exact replica to the original theater. It's 3/4 scale. Now, we're going to head to the Hollywood room. Sure. So to end the story, you've been to the preview, you've seen the preview, you've been to the premiere, you come upstairs and dine inside the restaurant. Now this room is themed to the accomplishment. These are all Disney people winning their Oscars. So if you take a look at all the photos, you have Walt Disney over there, Julie Andrews, over here Phil Collins. Now our second special dining experience is our World of Color prefix menu. It's a 3-course meal per person, but it gets you VIP complimentary fast passes for tonight's World of Color show. Now it's away from the water, in the dead center on a raised platform. It's actually the area where the Imagineers stood while they're designing the show, so you're seeing what they wanted you to. It's $39 for lunch and it's $59 for dinner, but if you're looking for a great meal and you want the best fast passes in the park, you gotta come to us. Alright, now we're gonna head out this doorway right here and head back towards the hallway.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
Alright, if everybody wants to come over here and kind of cram in this room, you can take a look at this photo. Now, can anybody guess what our address is here at the Carthay Circle Restaurant? It's got something to do with our history.
1901.
1901?
No, that's too easy.
1920, no. 1928?
1937 Carthay Circle. Dear Snow White and Seven Dwarfs premiere. We also have Carthay Signature House biscuits here. They're like hush puppies, but they have cheese, bacon, jalapenos in the middle. Now, how many do you think come in an order?
37.
No. Heart attacks, yeah. 7, yeah, well, you gotta have one for all the dwarfs, right? Alright, now I always save this photo for last. It's my favorite. I don't know if we can all cram in here. It's okay, guys. Try to come in. This is a photo of Walt and Roy on location shooting one of the Alice comedies in 1926. Now, the Alice comedies were 36 silent cartoon shorts where Walt where Alice, the girl on top of the camera, would go into imaginary cartoon worlds and have adventures with her friend Julie's cats. Now, if you go on Buena Vista Street, there's a company named that. I wonder why, right? Now, the girl on top of the camera, her name is Margie Gay. She's the second Alice in the Alice comedies. Now, people, the original was Virginia Davis. She's the one with the long curly hair. Now, people want to start seeing more of the cartoon and less of the little girl. So Walt started using her less and started paying her less. Her family pulled her out. This is the girl who replaces her. There will ultimately be a third girl before Walt gets bored with it and starts Oswald. Okay? Now, the first Alice cartoon was started as his last project for his Laugh-O-Gram Film Company in Kansas City. He finished the first cartoon, tried to find a distributor out there, but unfortunately could not. So he got frustrated. He decided that he was going to come to California to pursue directing. He thought he had done everything he could with animation, which is pretty funny. He's only 22 at this point, so you can't really blame him. So, $40 in his pocket, comes westward. Now, he had family out here already, but also his older brother Roy was out here. Roy had tuberculosis. Out here on the West Coast, they actually had places called asylums where you could come and get treatment for it, but ultimately there wasn't much they could do for you back then. Okay? So when Walt got out here a couple months past, he ran into a New York distributor, a lady by the name of Margaret Winkler. Now, she decided that she was going to pick up the Alice comedies, which was great because Walt had not been eating much. Okay, so with this great news, he ran into his older brother, and Roy decided that Walt was going to need a lot of help starting a new company. So the next day, he checked out of the hospital. The crazy part is that Roy would never have another problem with tuberculosis the rest of his life. And later that year, they found the Disney Bros studio, that little garage I was telling you about. Now, Margaret Winkler actually plays a very important role in our Disney history. Besides being the lady who picked up the Alice comedies and distributed them, her and Walt actually had a very good friend relationship. So much that when she got married to a man named Charles Mintz, Walt friended him as well. Charles Mintz worked for Universal Studios as a distributor. Now, down here in Hollywood, Charles was kind of known a little bit of a pirate. The way things were done back in Hollywood back in the day, a lot of ideas and stuff were stolen from people. Okay, this is kind of how business was run, alright? But because of the relationship Walt had with him, he trusted him. So when Walt started doing Oswald, he picked it up for Universal Studios. Now what Walt would do is they would actually finish the cartoons here in California. He would personally take them up to New York City to Charles. Now Oswald lasts for a little less than a year, okay? The last time that he went up to New York City, he decided that he was going to ask Charles for a little more money to push the animation a little more. Maybe even go into the first sound cartoon after seeing The Jazz Singer, the first movie with sound. Okay? Well, Charles didn't really like this idea much. And at that moment, he decided to inform Walt that actually you're going to make cartoons for less money, and that your Oswald character, well, he's not owned by you anymore. He's actually owned by Universal Studios. And that secretly I've been stealing all of your animators underneath the table, besides one loyalist of iWorks. So like anybody, you'd be pretty upset, right? So Walt jumps on the Santa Fe, comes back to California, tells his older brother what had happened, and so all three of them sit down at the Disney Bros studio, frankly going through magazines and other publications, trying to come up with a new character. They need something fast. All their money's tied up into Oswald. It's either do or die at this moment. Out of this comes Mickey Mouse. Now, what's funny is that without these two people betraying Walt, we wouldn't have Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse actually blows Oswald right out of the water, and Oswald will slowly drift into history, and Mickey Mouse is Mickey Mouse. And the rest to say is history, folks. Alright, so if you would like, you can look at some of our menus downstairs or make reservations with us at this time. Otherwise, have a great day.
Thank you. You should tell people how they got it back.
Oh, yeah, well, I try to keep it under 20 minutes.
Okay.
I wish I would talk all day.
So they got the Oswald character back.
Yeah, when so Robert Iger became CEO of Disney, and the first thing he did was he traded Universal Studios for it. So Universal Studios still owned Oswald, but they didn't do anything with it. And they traded him, but NBC Universal, they wanted Al Michaels for their Sunday Night Football.
Okay.
And they traded Oswald for Al Michaels.
Really?
They traded the rabbit for it.
Yeah.
And then, so that was the first thing that Robert Iger did.
Wow.
As CEO. Wasn't mine.
Yep. That is cool. I didn't know that.
That was like the last thing that Al created that wasn't him.
Yeah. That is cool. I'll just call it.
Oh, really?